BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor, take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward. And the wild part about all of this is that trauma actually lives in our nervous system, not just in our memory. Our brain has a brain stem. Our brain stem is connected to our nervous system. That nervous system is the superhighway to our bodies functioning and being as efficient and effective as possible. And it's all interconnected. Trauma also stays stored in our breath. Your jaw, your gut, your posture, every aspect of your being is a direct correlation to the trauma you've endured. What are you built to be? What are you built to become? The time is now. The time is right now. You weren't built to break. You were built to be something greater. Welcome to Season 2 of the BTB Project. I'm your host, Kollman Gearhart. I was an overweight kid, the one counted out, lost 100 pounds, found purpose in the pain, and turned my setbacks into a story worth telling. This podcast isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about identity, discipline, and comebacks. Getting up one more time and becoming who we're always meant to be. If you're ready to go deep, do the work, and live out what you're built to be, you're in the right place. Let's lock in, let's rise, and let's get to work. Welcome back to the BTB Project. My name is Kollman Gearhart, and in today's BTB short, I come to you today conflicted because I've been facing a lot in my personal life with some unresolved health issues that I've not only seen in myself, but I've also seen in my relatives and close family. And today's episode just really hits home, and I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to talk through it. This word trauma and how it actually physically shows up in our bodies is this almost urban legend I've experienced as a coach, watching people trying to navigate it themselves, drawing some of the trauma that they've experienced out of that individual so that we can work through it. And ultimately how some of those trauma moments or difficult circumstances actually propels people to do things that are extraordinary. If you've ever had physical pain that didn't make any sense, or if you've ever pushed through something only to have your body shut down later, or even if you're wondering why you're always so tired, or you feel tight, or you're on edge for no particular reason, today's episode is for you. This last year has been pretty tough because recently I had a foot issue that out of nowhere, I'm playing a local tennis tournament and it started to give me some pretty serious issues. And I've been dealing with inflammation and pain, and my foot for the better part of 6 weeks had this slow process of healing and recovery. And I couldn't quite understand what was happening. I didn't have a specific trauma or injury that occurred. I didn't roll my ankle while I was playing tennis. I didn't step on my own foot. I didn't have some sort of ache or sprain. It literally just manifested almost out of nowhere after I was done playing a tournament match. When it wasn't healing, I kept trying to do what I know, which is rest, stretch, ice, strengthen, corrective exercises. Nothing seemed to work. And so I got referred to a doctor that specialized in the nervous system. And he helped me start noticing something about myself that I never realized. The pain flared most when I was under stress, when I was forcing myself to push through life, when I wasn't slowing down. Things can be sometimes pretty chaotic as a husband and a father of 3 children. So as I kept pushing myself in life, my body kept a score and not allowed me to truly recover in a quick, efficient way from the foot injury. So when my body started speaking of this injury to my foot, I'm real curious if you, the listener, have ever experienced the same. Ironically, even my own father, who just recently had a major health issue with a prescription medication and counteraction with ibuprofen that caused his arms and his skin to break out and create this bad inflammation that made his left hand swollen. And it was just awful. That skin flaring and having to take him to the emergency room, and the doctor's not quite sure how to explain what was going on. That's when it really hit me. Our bodies are consistently responding to what our minds are trying to ignore. As I was seeing a doctor that specialized in the nervous system, he referred a book to me that has really opened my eyes, and I want to talk through it. And the book is called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. This book just absolutely wrecked me in all of the best ways possible. One line in the book that particular stayed with me is, trauma just isn't something that happened to you. It's something that lives inside of you. In previous episodes, I've shared my personal journey. I'm a child of an alcoholic. I lost my mom when I was 20 years old. I have survived multiple tumors that have grown throughout my body, one connected to my spinal cord that I took out and caused paralysis in my pelvis, trying to finish grad school in adult diapers, losing function of bowels and bladder, to then having some of these same neurological issues with these flare-ups in my foot and in my hands. And that quote from the book resonated with me because I didn't put 2 and 2 together, that the trauma that we go through in life is something that we carry, whether we've overcome it or not. Our bodies remember exactly what it took for our body to endure that trauma in our life. And so all of a sudden, a lot of things made sense to me. The old pressure that I used to carry, the stress that I buried, the things that I thought I had moved on from, but my body hadn't. You see, pain that doesn't have a clear cause often has the deepest roots. And more often than not, the root is incredibly emotional. It's incredibly challenging to look at ourselves in the mirror and face what our bodies have endured and have gone through the trenches, to be able to look at ourselves and face it. So, what does trauma actually look like in our lives? Let's break this down for a second. We think trauma means something big, something like abuse or violence or going through war. But the truth is, trauma can also be being told to man up instead of feel your emotions and be vulnerable. It could be carrying guilt that you've never dealt with. It could also be always feeling like you had to be perfect. Watching someone you love suffer. And the wild part about all of this is that trauma actually lives in our nervous system, not just in our memory. Our brain has a brain stem. Our stem is connected to our nervous system. That nervous system is the superhighway to our bodies functioning and being as efficient and effective as possible. And it's all interconnected. Trauma also stays stored in our breath, your jaw, your gut, your posture. Every aspect of your being is a direct correlation to the trauma you've endured. That's why so many people feel off in their bodies. I hear it all the time from clients. I just feel disconnected from my body. I feel like I'm not able to tell my body to go one way because my body wants to go the other way, or my body wants to stay put. And a lot of people are trying to figure out why this is happening. Being able to understand that trauma keeps score in our bodies is 100% correlated to some of these things that we're trying to figure out. So how do we know if our body is holding some kind of trauma? Here's how I knew something deeper was going on in my life. Like I mentioned, for years, I've had these neurological flare-ups in my foot and my hand, and there was no new injury, but I kept having these flare-ups. I was consistently tense, and even when nothing was wrong in my life, I felt like something was, that the true joy in life was often sucked away by this inner demon. I had no idea what it could be. My sleep was garbage, and emotionally, I either was completely flat or kind of monotone in a lot of situations, or completely on edge. Loved ones asking me, gosh, you seem uptight. What's going on? Have you had a good day? My body wasn't failing me per se. It was protecting me. So going back to this doctor that I met with, he told me that my nervous system was constantly in fight or flight mode. And that got me thinking that as I have spent all of these years trying to protect myself from not facing potential trauma similar to what I have faced in the past, it doesn't allow me to stay present and enjoy what's right in front of me. Holding on to something is always going to be this makeshift ceiling in our life to where our joy, our success, our ability to do remarkable things are going to be stemmed from where we put our ceiling and how we're handling trauma. So when we've recognized that we're holding something, we have to be able to take the next step of healing. Where do we even start when we think of healing? It's not just managing symptoms, but to actually heal. Here's what helped me, and I hope it helps you as the listener. Breathwork. I've had a few episodes in regards to this, but things like box breathing, deep exhales are not just to help you relax, but it tells your nervous system that you're safe. We literally take a moment where if we're in fight or flight mode with our nervous system, we can do breathing techniques to break that systematic chain of how our body is responding and actually implement something that calms the nervous system, that makes the nervous system feel safe now. When words fail, our breath still speaks. Breathing is the first thing we did when we came out of the womb. We got the proverbial slap in the butt, and we cry and we take that first breath in. And all of the things we do in life, stressful situations, being able to perform athletically, if we are not able to find ways to control our breath, there's no ways we're going to be able to control our bodies. Next is movement with purpose. Taking the time in your day to walk, stretch, slow strength training, not to crush it, but to reconnect with your body, to have the brain-body alignment to function. And as you're doing those movements with purpose, you're building a resiliency to be able to take on more difficult circumstances, to take the trauma that you've experienced in the past and have an outlet to overcome it, to face it, but to find strength in what you're doing, to feel confident in who you are despite what's happened to you. You want to be able to move to feel, not to prove to anybody else, but to literally change your biochemistry to feel alive. Spending the time to journal and reflect, writing down simple prompts like, where in my body do I feel off? And what emotion might be there? What have I not let myself feel? What have I felt like this pit in my stomach? Bad feeling I have about something that happened a while ago, and I just keep holding on to it. Being able to recognize it is the first step to healing from it. And to do all of that in community. The BTB Project is a platform that is built for us to come together. I don't expect anybody that's listening to today's episode to not come to these episodes without some baggage, without some difficult circumstances, without some real trauma. And being able to talk to someone like a coach, like a friend, like a therapist, that allows you to have that trauma be out in the open so that your body's not trying to carry it on its own. Trauma often happens in isolation. Healing is the exact opposite of that. It happens in connection. It happens in doing life with other people. We have to be able to let go of the pressure that we feel in our bodies because of the trauma we carry in our minds to be fine, to be hopeful, to be present. I often struggle with the word fine because I feel like it's not too high and not too low. It's kind of a monotone aspect of life. But ultimately, you have to be on an even playing field to know that you don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to slow down and listen to what your mind and body connection really looks like. Being able to take that time to be present is critical to recognize trauma, to heal from it, and most importantly, to find ways to improve because of what you've been through. That difficult circumstance, that trauma is the springboard for you to kickstart, to rocket launch your built to be journey. So here's what I'll leave with you today. Your body didn't betray you. It protected you. But now it's asking you to pay attention. Bodies get sick. Our bodies give us signs because it wants to constantly get our attention. But what if you're paying attention before your body gives you that sign? Now you're in a much more proactive state rather than a constant reactive state. You're not weak because your body's flaring up from these things. You're not broken because you're carrying old pain. You're a human being. And your body has been your messenger this whole time. So take a moment today. Just take 30 seconds and find an opportunity to breathe. Find an opportunity to be still and ask yourself not what's wrong, but what needs to be heard from my body today. Listen, if this BTB short about trauma and the connection to our bodies, if this spoke to you, please share it with someone who else is also struggling carrying pain in silence. Let's stop ignoring these signs. Let's stop running from the noise. Let's stop listening and let's start healing through breathing, through affirmation, through journaling, through being self-aware. Start that journey today. The opportunity is right now. And the more we can recognize our trauma, the more we can recover from them, and the more that we can be proactive rather than reactive in our lives. Do me a favor and like and subscribe to the BTB Project. Better yet, send this message to a family member, friend, or colleague. Tell them why it's important to you. It's this BTB community that I love so deeply, and the opportunity to have a platform and to speak to you on a weekly basis is a tremendous blessing. As always, I'm proud of each and every one of you. And until next time, take care.